Hi Lee, it's Dr. Kimberly. I'm going to give you some feedback on both your written as well as your visual for the teaching assignment on learning theory. So Lee, I really liked your breakdown on the discussion board. I found it to be one of the most comprehensive descriptions for this particular assignment. So good work on that. So your application of your learning theory is on fetal monitoring, which is good. And I'm assuming it's fetal monitoring for novice nurses, right? Not for nurses that are already in the labor and delivery environment. So make sure that you clarify that in your paper. So let's start with Sweller and the cognitive load theory, right? You can only put so much stuff into a brain. That's how I think about Sweller. I do like this theory a lot. Make sure that when you're talking about the theory, and I see you've brought it in here, you make sure that you use the word schema because that's very important in this theory and central to the theory. You talk about schemas all the time. So that's awesome that you put it here. I find your view of knowledge and learning here well defined. Your breakdown in the role of the student, right, drawing from previous knowledge, right, and instructions designed to reduce working memory load, and all of that goes into the role of the educator, right. The students really need to know also when to say when, right? So if they start to get overwhelmed, it's nice that they understand that they can give that type of feedback to the educator, and that the educator too is open to hearing from the learners, right? And how the learners are experiencing learning, right? So here are the theories, how that will inform your instruction. I find that to be well played out. So that's good. If you're going to use that theory, that's pretty solid for you. Andragogy, Knowles, one of the major theories that people talk about all the time. Remember that Knowles theory, right, focuses on the process, but it does also, the content is also important, right, in the knowledge base that's being built, right. So yes, he is focusing on content as well. He wants you to focus on content as well as process, because it can't just be content lax, right? It's not just all about processing. Because that content, right, is going to be driven by the student, right? So you, yes, are a facilitator and a resource, but as part of being a facilitator and a resource, what do you have to know about your learners? Think about that. What do you have to know? You have to know what content they already know, right? They've already learned, right? That's how you're going to be able to facilitate them, right, and give them the appropriate resources. So you don't want to give, let's say, entry-level learners more advanced resources if they don't have that basic understanding. But if you have a learner who's a more of an advanced learner, right, that maybe already knows that basic information, you don't want to provide them with repetitive information because then it doesn't become meaningful. Remember, with andragogy, it's definitely an adult learning theory. So adults only want to know what they need to know, right? With things that they already know, they really don't want to repeat that. They don't want that repeated. Their time is precious. Just like up here, right, in Schweller, their brain space is precious, right? Here, Knowles is and Knowles is theoristic about time, right? Time on task and how that time is going to be best used, right, by the adult learners. Okay, so remember that. That's kind of endemic in most adult learning theories that time is precious. Okay, and I find that your theory, how the theory is going to inform your instruction, is well thought out here. Okay, so conversation theory and PASC, right? So PASC talks about talking, and that probably would be the theorist that I use all the time because I talk a lot, but no, that's just my nature. But his view of knowledge is that it becomes explicit through conversation, right? So talking about it, and what I say, like playing in the words, like just having conversations, and for me, just being very, very, it's very natural for me to want to talk about theories and or talk about processes and how things work and how you do things. So, it lends itself more to those people who like auditory learning, right? So remember, learning styles aren't necessarily, the way you learn all the time and the way you always learn best, but, some people just gravitate more toward talking. So, the role of the student here, and I find that your view of learning and view of knowledge is correct. So the view of the student here, right? Learning relationships between those concepts is very important, right? And understanding explanation, right? Through auditory explanation, right? Through conversation, talking about it. And not just explanation, but that repeat back. So that's the teach back part. So remember, in conversation, it's deliver and receive. Deliver and receive, right? So part of the role of the student is to receive that conversation and then deliver it back, right? That's, I think, the beauty of this and the beauty of teach back. And see that as a nurse, you didn't even know we were always using that theory, or we were using that theory with patients, right? The conversation theory. When you do teach back, excuse me. And Mave, with situated learning, love. I found that your knowledge, right, is correct. Knowledge is acquired situationally, and it is developed in a social interaction kind of community of practice, right? And the role of the student is to be an active participant in that community so that they can move, right, from beginner to expert, right? Engaging in that community of learners, right? The role of the educator is to facilitate learning, right, instead of just give content. And if you notice, in a lot of these theories, we're just not giving content, we're not delivering content. We are facilitating, we are guiding, right? We're not the sage on the stage. That's how people learn, right? They learn through doing, they learn through communication, they learn through actively engaging with the concepts of that particular thing, whatever that particular thing is. So, thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me.